Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Older Than All Dogmas, Deeper Than All Creeds, Joseph Fort Newton's The Religion of Freemasonry, by Morgan Smith, and comes from the July-August 2021 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. From the dawn of modern Masonic scholarship, writers and critics have grappled with the conception of Masonry's religious nature, offering a sea of interpretations of the great question, is Masonry a religion, or is it not? If so, where does this place the Christian Freemason in terms of his own beliefs? Among scholarship on this contentious topic, there is perhaps no treatise more powerful than that of the celebrated pastor, orator, and Masonic scholar Joseph Fort Newton, best known for The Builders, A Story and Study of Freemasonry, 1914. Reverend Norton penned a lesser-known book in 1927 entitled The Religion of Masonry, An Interpretation. In his stirring exposition, Newton sets his own thoughts apart from many of his contemporaries in that he attempts to define not Masonry or Christianity, but religion itself. Differentiating between a religion and religion, Newton makes his own case that Freemasonry bears a set of principles common to all religions across the world, from the core values of brotherhood to fundamental morality, and from the unique perspective of a biblical scholar and lifelong minister, he illuminates the truly universal nature of that religion in which all men agree. Undoubtedly, Newton's highest consideration throughout his book is the primeval nature of religion and humanity's innate spiritual needs bound within it. Newton believed that all individuals have need of religion, as evidenced by the theologies, rituals, songs, and temples that mankind has produced from his earliest beginnings as a way to reckon with his spiritual nature. Older than all creeds, deeper than all dogmas, it is a voice out of the heart of the world, Newton writes of religion. Newton's understanding of religion is reminiscent of that of the great American philosopher William James, under whom Newton studied at Harvard, in that it approaches religion with respect to the individual experience. James' 1902 classic, The Varieties of Religious Experience, defines religion as an individual's relationship to the divine and suggests that organized religions naturally emerge from personal religious experience. As Newton puts it, religion may be thought of as an individual seeking for the meaning of his life, setting forth in drama, symbol, and sign the truth as he finds it. How, then, is religion reflected in Masonic tradition? The Reverend explains it succinctly. Masonry is not the rival of any religion, but the friend of all, laying emphasis upon those truths which underlie all religions and are the basis and consecration of each. In this, he echoes the words of his fellow scholars of the early 20th century. In The Meaning of Masonry, for instance, W.L. Wilmshurst concludes, Masonry is not in itself a religion, but rather a dramatized and intensified form of religious processes inculcated by every religious system in the world. Newton goes on to describe religious aspects of Masonry that are reflected in nearly every religion across the globe. According to his understanding of Masonic doctrine, for example, holy texts are found in all faiths. He reminds readers that the Bible, a book surrounded by dispute and debate, has become within Freemasonry a book of union, functioning in the lodge as a symbol of the will of God. While a Christian clergyman who confesses that the Bible is supreme, Newton nonetheless exhibits the spirit of toleration and appreciation in his reverent allusions to the holy books of other faiths. He refers to the Master Mason Lew Wallace's The Prince of India, where of holy books it is written, these are Bibles also, Bibles sacred to those unto whom they were given, to that perishable monument to Moses, and David is to us, for they too are revelations from God, aye, the very same God. Central to religion is also the perception of God as the supreme master builder and the universe's patterns and harmony as a product of his divine hands. One is reminded of William Preston's words in his 18th century book Illustrations of Masonry. Ever since symmetry began, and harmony displayed her charms, our order has had a being. Newton points to Pythagoras, who made mathematics a divine science, and Plato, who considered geometry to be the foundational science of philosophy. Newton recognized that from antiquity men have rooted philosophy in the sacred geometry and mathematics that they rightly perceived as the fabric of creation. Yet Newton extends the geometrical framework of cosmological and religious philosophy to moral philosophy. He realized that the geometry of the divine applies to God's creation as it does to a man's life, and what he refers to as the geometry of character or moral geometry, or the seeking of moral order and harmony in one's life. Newton believed that without the pursuit of a moral life, the religious journey becomes fruitless. No doubt that was what Plato meant, Newton writes, when he said that by measurement the soul is saved, meaning that by ordering our lives in harmony with the eternal order of the world, we are redeemed from futility. The last core tenet of both religion and Masonry, which Reverend Newton rightly emphasizes as so vitally important to the foundation of Freemasonry: Brotherhood. Masonry is the realization of God by the practice of brotherhood, he writes, and thus he designates brotherhood as the avenue through which supreme truth is reached. Drawing from the words of such philosophers as Cicero, Confucius, and St. Paul, Newton finds that the brotherhood of man is a hallmark of religious thought across the world and thus names brotherhood the essence and glory of religion. This is perhaps the reason for Newton's earlier criticism of the Church, in which he denounces the disputes and quarrels that would seek to undermine fraternal kinship. For surely, he writes, to argue angrily about God, to bandy bitter words about the sacred things of the soul is not religion, but irreligion. Newton reminds Masons and Christians alike that all men are one in their littleness. Ultimately, Newton concludes that religion is the realization of the value of life, not only of life on earth, but life eternal. Newton points out that Christ himself never used the word religion, but life, suggesting that religion is not, and can never be, a separate aspect of man's life, but is instead life itself at its best. For Reverend Newton, Masonry seeks to instill in men the truth of immortality and the life of character that anticipates eternity. In this, it is religion itself and represents religion in its purest form. To discover that truth and live accordingly, laying out our plans and forming our fellowships as citizens of eternity, that is life indeed, and that is the religion of Freemasonry. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 32nd degree, KCCH, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.